Every time I set up the camera, the angle is just wrong. I hope it's fine now, because I'm not doing it again. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another reading vlog, and today's reading vlog is going to be strictly science fiction. Because if you have seen my mid-year book tag that I recently uploaded, I mentioned in that video that science fiction has been my biggest surprise this year, and I have completely fallen head over heels for science fiction. It's just such an amazing genre. I just want to read more and more books of this genre. I do have a couple of books in my mind that I want to read in today's vlog, but I don't have all of them right now. I have to order them. But I do have one book which I have already started as well. It is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I know saying that I started is probably not true since I read more than half the book. That's not my fault. I had a flight today, so I read a huge chunk of the book then. So don't blame me for that. Don't blame me for reading more than half the book before I even started this video. I am sorry. Anyways, so I'll tell you what this book basically is about. So humanity and all life on Earth is under threat because of something. I'm not going to tell you what, because this is in no spoiler zone. So I'm not going to tell you what. But yeah, humanity is under threat. All life on Earth is under threat, and the only solution is to send out a crew of around 3 people out into outer space to sort of, you know, do science things, discover something, find some solution to eliminating this threat. So our main character, Ryland Grace, he is one of the 3 members of the crew, and the crew members, they have to go into a manually induced coma while they're traveling to a particular destination in outer space. So this book starts this book starts off with Ryland coming out of his coma, and he notices that the other 2 crewmates are dead. They did not survive being in that manually induced coma. So he's out all alone, and he does not even remember his own name. He does not know who he is, what he is. Well, no, he knows he's human. So no, he just does not remember his name, or why he's here, or where he is. He does not know any of those things. And slowly starts getting his memories back, and he realizes, okay, he's here to practically save humanity, and he has to discover or find out a particular solution to this particular problem. This particular problem. And the book of the back. Oh my god, there's something wrong with me today. And the back of the book says, a lone astronaut, an impossible mission, and an ally he never imagined. So clearly he meets someone or something, and we have that part of the plot as well, and I am loving it so much. One thing that I would definitely like to say is, if something happens to this ally, I will tear this book up. Nothing should happen to him. Nothing. Not allowed. Also, one thing about this book that I really like is how at some points I'll literally be laughing out loud, and then literally the next sentence would be like a serious scientific thing, and it's not like the laughing parts or the funny parts are overpowering the serious science stuff in any way. It's not. It's both of them are equally prominent, and that's just what I love the most about this book. It's a roller coaster of emotions. There's so much of information that we're getting. It's definitely science heavy. The science fiction is definitely science heavy, but it's not like you won't be able to understand it. It's explained very well, and it's honestly very interesting, very intriguing. Or maybe that's just the nerd in me saying that, but it really is very interesting. I am currently on page 292. There are around 480 pages, so I have around 200 pages left. I will, not today, but definitely by tomorrow, finish this book, and I'll let you guys know more about this then. Project Hail Mary, and it has been so good so far. A lot of stuff has happened since the last time I updated, and it's just so fascinating, so interesting. I cannot put the book down. I'm flying through the book. I am just in love with everything about this book. I'm just in love with it. I did cry at one part, but the reason why I wanted to update you guys is because I have like 30 pages left, and you would think that nothing crazy is going to happen when there are just 30 pages left. I thought that too, but I'm wrong. Shit is still happening, and I just cannot take it anymore. I'm just so scared for these people. I'm so scared. Once I reached this chapter, I checked, I had like 30 pages left. I was like, cool, chill, everything's gonna be fine now. We're coming to an end. No. Oh my god. I'm gonna go read. Bye. Just bye. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's been literally weeks since I filmed that last clip, so I'm sorry. I have quite a lot of updates to give, so let's get started. As you saw in the last clip, I finished Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. You guys pretty much know my feelings about this entire book. The only thing I read after that last clip was the ending of the book, and I have to say I loved the ending so much. It was so unexpected. Like, it was very different from what I thought the ending would actually be. One of the best things about this book was just how unexpectedly good the friendship in this was, because you don't exactly expect to read a science fiction book about aliens and stuff like that, and the thing that moved you the most about that book was the friendship in that book. I mean, you would expect that to be science that moves you. No, it was the friendship. This book was amazing. Everything about this book was amazing. The friendship, the relationships, the science in it. It was funny as well. This book was genuinely funny with the way the narrator was thinking, whatever he was doing. There are literally parts in this book that made me laugh out loud, and I just loved this so much. Andy Weir is an amazing author. He's the author of The Martian, and that movie is amazing. I really hope Project Hail Mary also gets a movie, because it's just gonna be a masterpiece. And yeah, it was a great start to this video. Then next, as you saw in the last clip, I started The Dark Forest by Cixin. This is the second book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past series. The first book being The Three-Body Problem, which I have talked about too much on my channel. This book is literally one of my favorite books of all time. This book, when I was reading this book, the only thing that I was thinking about was this book, and I think that is also one of the reasons why I didn't film anything while reading the second book, because Cixin Liu and this series in general, it takes a lot of brain power to read it, and you just have to be present completely 120% into the book, which is why I didn't record anything. But I'm here, and I'm here to tell you guys about this book. I can't tell you anything about the plot because I'll basically be spoiling the first one, but I'll tell you what the structure of this book was and what parts I liked or didn't like or enjoy or absolutely didn't enjoy or whatever. Okay, so this book is divided into 3 big chapters, like huge chapters, okay? And this entire series is spanned out over like a couple of centuries, right? So the first book happened, and a couple of years later we have part 1 of this book, and it just follows basically what Earth is planning on doing for what's going to happen 4 centuries later. Okay, so the first part was all the initial stages of the planning that were going to happen, which was interesting. Honestly, there were really fascinating concepts in that which were interesting to read. And then the second part was again a few years later, like 15, 20 years later. What is the status of those projects? What is the status of those ideas? Are there any more ideas that we're going to implement for centuries later? And I really enjoyed these first two parts, but they weren't anything like the first book, because we were just getting ideas, we're just getting plans. There's nothing actually happening. There's just planning and planning. Actually no, there is stuff happening, but the stuff is happening related to what they're planning, right? It's not actually related to the bigger picture or the bigger plot that the entire series focuses on. Then we come to the third part of the book, and it blew me away. Honestly, the third part is just I cannot explain to you guys what happens in this, but the reason why I love the third part so much, there are two reasons. One, because we go forward 2 centuries, so how Earth is going to be 2 centuries from now, that was so fascinating. I just could not put the book down, because it's just so interesting to see how much Earth's technology would develop, or how people would develop, how relationships would become different 2 centuries from now. It was really interesting, loved it. And the second most important part, why I enjoyed the third part, was the final contact, not the final, but the first initial actual contact that Earth people have with the aliens. And I'm not going to say anything more because I'm going to spoil a very big thing about this book, but let me just say that there was this one part in this book that had my jaw dropped. It was so good. I constantly think about that too. I mean, a great thing about this series is there are literally moments from both of the books that I constantly think about because they're just so good. And man, I'm really dying to read the third book. It's going to be amazing. And also, I got to know literally just yesterday that the series, it says right here, soon to be Netflix series, it's finally going to come out in January next year. I saw the trailer and it was so good. Like, I could see the scenes in the trailer and I could exactly like remember or recall which scene that particular scene is representing, and it was just so good. So good. Highly recommend this series. I loved it. This book literally had me go on a YouTube binge searching for the Dark Forest, what the Dark Forest is, what it is. I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So the Dark Forest is actually the solution to the Fermi paradox. That is all I'm going to say. I'm not going to explain it or anything, and I would honestly suggest that if you do not know what the Fermi paradox is or what the Dark Forest solution is, then do not search it up before reading this book, because I feel like getting to know about the Dark Forest solution through this book while reading this book was one of the best experiences of my life. Okay, that might be exaggerating a little bit, but one of the best experiences that I've had while reading a book. That is what I meant. So yeah, just love this series so much. Super excited for the series, and also really excited to finally get to the third book, which is just, I just know it's going to be like, I'm just going to be reading that one book for 1 month because I know it's going to be so good. I will not be able to pick up anything after that. Guys, so that was the second book. Now we'll move on to the third book, or the last book of this vlog, and also the reason why this series or this entire video is taking me so long to film is because I ordered this book literally in the beginning of the month and I've received it now, literally a month later. The delivery system was just completely but the book is finally here and I'm going to read it now. It is The Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is not exactly a mainstream science fiction book, but it's a science fiction thriller novel, which is great because we like to mix things up here, okay? I've heard great things about this book. I've heard great things about Blake Crouch in general. I heard great things about him. One of my favorite bookstagrammers, for him, this was his best book, his favorite book of the year. And I'm really excited because it feels like not a very big book. The font size is big, just less than 400 pages, and I'm currently in a reading slump, so it's great for me to read a quick thriller which is going to blow my brains and not very thick. So let's get started. Hi guys, I really should not call this video a reading vlog because there has been no vlogging, there has just been me reading and me telling you how I felt about this book. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I did finish Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. The last time I spoke to you guys, I was starting this book. So I'll tell you all about it now. This book is basically a science fiction thriller novel, right? And this book introduces us to the concept of the multiverse. And I know we have a lot of content regarding multiverse right now, and it's kind of all the same thing, is dragging on, but this book was a bit different. I don't exactly know how it's different, but it definitely was different. I'll tell you the plot, the basic plot of this. So this book follows Jason Dessen, who in the current world is like a normal college professor. He has a wife and a kid, and basically in this particular universe he chose to, you know, have the kid with his wife instead of, you know, moving forward or focusing more on his career. So the book starts off with both the wife and Jason thinking about what their life could be like if they focused on their career rather than on their family. And then a bunch of stuff happens and Jason ends up waking up in a world where he is Jason Dessen, but not the Jason Dessen. He is a different version of Jason Dessen. He is no longer a college professor. He is like a scientist, like a very big renowned scientist. His wife is not his wife. She's just a normal artist, and they don't have a kid. And Jason is obviously really freaked out. He's like, what's happening? This is my life, but also not my life. Like, his house is his house, but everything is different. His wife is not his wife. It's just someone he knew once upon, 15 years ago. The kid is not there, obviously. So he decides that he wants to go back to his family. He does not understand all of this. He's scared. He wants to go back to his family. And that's when he sort of embarks on this journey throughout the multiverse, which was the interesting part of this book. And honestly, the concept of multiverse that is explained throughout that journey that he takes through all those universes is so scary. This book made me glad that we do not know whether we have other universes or how to contact with those universes. I'm so glad we don't know, because this book was really scary. When you, like, with that aspect, it was genuinely very scary. But overall, this book was really amazing. The thriller aspect of it, the first half of the book, the thriller aspects were kind of predictable. Like, I knew what was happening. But the second half of the book, the thriller was very sort of, interconnected with the science fiction aspect. That is why it got way more interesting. I did take a lot of time to read this book because I've kind of been in a reading slump, so I read this over literally like a week or two, and that is probably why I'm not going to rate this book a 5-star or a very high rating. I'm going to give it like a 4 or 4.5 star because that's my fault. I was in a reading slump. This book was genuinely amazing. I mean, this book is amazing for people who love science fiction, who love thriller, who just want a different type of thriller, or who just want different science fiction. It's an all-rounder book. Definitely would recommend it to everyone, all of you. And yeah, I think that's it. I just really enjoyed this book, and I'm going to end this video over here now because I've read 3 books in this video, and it's literally taken me more than a month to do this. I'm really sorry. So yeah, I'm going to finish this video now. I'll just give you like a recap, because literally for me this is books that I've read over the past 2 months, right? So the first book is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This was just a great all-round book. This is like a standalone. It's not part of a series, so it started perfectly, it ended perfectly, everything in the middle was perfect. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I loved this book a lot. The next book I read was The Dark Forest by Cixin. This is the second book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, and while the first half of the book was kind of monotonous, the second half of the book literally just did that to my brain, just squeezed my brain completely, and I enjoyed this so much. The series is coming out in January of next year, and I'm just so excited. I will definitely read the 3rd book before then, and I would recommend this series to literally everyone. You should definitely pick up the series. And then lastly, like I just mentioned, I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which was a science fiction thriller novel, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, those are 3 books. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys liked any of the books that I mentioned. If you've read any of them, please let me know. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.